I have chose to create a lesson plan for multiplying a fraction by a whole number using the standard CCSS math content 4NFB4, which is applying and extending previous understandings of multiplication to multiply a fraction by a whole number. In this lesson plan, my objective is at the end of this lesson, students will be able to multiply a fraction by a whole number. So I started with an introduction here, and how I would introduce this to the class is I would start with a word problem. For example, I would say something along the lines of, I love to bake. I need to make 2 cakes for a birthday party. A recipe I'm following calls for 3/4 cup of sugar, and I need to double the recipe. How many cups of sugar do I need? I would then tell students to discuss with a partner or small groups and think about what the answer may be and how they would come to that answer. And then after a couple of minutes, I would ask for volunteers or start calling on students to share their answers with the class. I would then follow up and show my version and how I got to the answer. So what I would do is I would put a strip diagram, and I would make a rectangle. I would make 2 rectangles since we are making 2 cakes and we are doubling the recipe. So I make 2 of those, and then the recipe calls for 3/4 a cup of sugar. So that what I would do, the whole of these 2 squares or rectangles would be 4, and so. Or actually, these are the holes, and we are splitting up the whole into 4 equal parts. And there are 3 parts in each that will be filled in to represent the 3 out of 4. Then I would ask students how they are visualizing this, and I would hope that they would understand that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 boxes shaded in, and then we know that right here, I would also remind them that when multiplying, the denominator of the fraction stays on the bottom. So we would understand that there's, like I said, 6 filled in. So then this would then equal 6/4 cup of sugar, like so. And then I would go into saying something along the lines of, today we're going to be creating word problems that go with expressions of multiplying fractions in whole numbers. So then I move on to some guided practice. And on the board, I would put something along the line, an expression. Right here, I used 4 times 2/3, and then I would ask students to talk amongst themselves and with ideas for a word problem. So whatever they may use, say we can use the same scenario as earlier, saying we are making 4 cakes with 2/3 cup of sugar, and how many cups of sugar will we use in total? So we then come over here with our strip diagrams again, because I think these are the easiest way to visualize this type of equation. So we know we are making 4 cakes. So we're making 1, 2, 3, 4. And then right here, that's telling us how many parts we need to split it up into. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And then the 2 is how many are being filled in. So then we fill in those, which we would then do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so 8 would go on the top, and it would be out of 3. And then right here, I have the 8/3 again. So then what we would do is discuss this, and I would ask the students if they are able to visualize this answer and understand why there is 8/3 cup of sugar being used total. Excuse me. So then before I break them up, I would then tell the students that their word problems must have a whole number, a fraction, a question, and the situation must be realistic and make sense. I created this worksheet here for the students to then do. I have completed one already for them. So we are, as you can see, the students are given any expression there. And I put 2 friends drink 3/4 cup of juice each. How many cups did they drink total? So then again, with our strip diagrams, we are doing the 4 there again. So we are doing 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. There's 2 friends, so each 2, and 3 are being, there's only 3 out of the 4 parts are being used. So then we could add again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we get 6/4, which essentially is 3/4 times 2. If we put that over 1, is 6/4 cup of juice total. So then I would have the students work on one more. Like I said here, I go down to partner work, pass out the worksheet, and explain that in one box, this first box, you will be creating a situation or a word problem with a partner. You're going to save the other 2 down here for yourself. I then let the partners work together. And then once all the partners have finished that, go around the room asking what they have gotten. And then again, tell them that they're not going to be doing independent work, making two solutions or situations, and we need to use, and then the directions state, write a situation to match the expression in each box, then solve the expression. Use a model or picture to help solve the expression. So I would be expecting to see some sort of visualization on each in each box there. And I would then give time for individually to do these last 2 problems. And then I did a little assessment at the bottom. I would write a problem or an expression on the board again, or this would be in a full equation. I would do 5 times 6/4 equals 30/4. And then for the assessment part, I would hand out index cards and have the students write their names on it. And then I would ask the students to write their word problem on the card with a visual. And when finished, come up to the board and tape or put a magnet with your index card up on the board. And then when finished, when all the index cards are up on the board, I would then read a couple of the index cards and state whether or not that would work for this equation. And then I would obviously collect all of the rest of the index cards so I would be able to properly assess each student and see if they are struggling or see if they are understanding the material given to them. So that is the end of my explanation of my lesson plan. I then also wanted to state what I stated above, or what my standard, or a further description of my standard. I haven't printed it out, but I have it there. So I stated that for this lesson, I chose to focus on the CCSS Math Content 4NFB4 standard, and it focuses on applying and extending previous understandings of multiplication to multiply a fraction by a whole number. And in this lesson, we used a lot of visual aid to help students understand the multiplication between a fraction and whole numbers. But in the student's head, they are visualizing more of an addition problem rather than multiplication. So they're doing it without even realizing that they are multiplying. In this lesson plan, we are also focusing on teaching students how to be given an expression and create a word problem from that expression, familiarizing them with these types of word problems. This standard is also focused on building from previous methods taught beforehand and taking it a step further. Using strip diagrams is a great way to help students visualize the work they are actually doing and not just using rules. This standard helps students understand why and how we multiply whole numbers and fractions, and not just simply we multiply numerators and we multiply the denominators because that's how you multiply things. This way, using these strip diagrams and helping them understand word problems is a better way to teach students how to multiply fractions and whole numbers. Thank you.